right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And as you all know, this is a special transmission of World This Morning on Independence Day. And yes, obviously, we are with you. We are supposed to be with you on this day. But then, just because of the fact that we have had so many elderly people and they think that they have served Pakistan in a way that, we are ready to get the reins on into our hands. But then at the same time, there are other people who are working for its soft projection as well. And then there are people who are getting young minds together. And those people are over here in the studios with us. But Maha, do you want to add on to it?
I don't. I think you've covered every angle of it. And no, it's very true that there are different people who have different backgrounds who are doing different things within Pakistan. And it's important to highlight it, especially on Independence Day.
And it is good to know what's the spirit of independence itself.
Exactly. So for that, we have been very lucky. We have been joined by Dr. Hassan Rana. He is a political analyst today. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
And a film director, yeah, we know it all.
Film director, producer as well. But assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, go ahead. Come on, you do it.
I will.
Okay, I will do it. And alongside Dr. Hassan Rana, we have got Mr. Abdullah Gull, who's running a movement with the name of Youth Movement Pakistan, and that's a think tank as well. Thank you very much, Gull Sahab. Thank you very much for joining us. And those green eyes remind me of independence itself.
And besides Mr. Abdullah Gull, we've been joined by Habib Malik, who is a development expert.
Today. Otherwise, he's an anthropologist.
As well. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Happy Independence Day to all of you.
Thank you very much, first of all, Pakistan Zindabad. But just to get started, and since it's the later half of the show as well, Dr. Saab, what is independence for you and how do you emotionally enjoy it? What's the emotional rush in it?
I try to, as a rule, and I've been doing that for many years now. Ever since that, I've actually generally understood the concept of countries or concept of borders and what that concept actually allows you to do. I make it a point to work twice as hard on 14th of August, and I also always try to do something specifically which has at least some kind of national implication.
Very nice. Amazing that is.
I mean, I'm not even though my kids would want me to kind of take them out, which I do also, and
later at night.
Later at night and during the day as well. But if I'm in Karachi, I'd always try to go to Qaid Azam's Mazar, and but that's it's happened about 3 times in my life.
Wow, at least that has happened. So, Gul Sahab, what about you? Same thing.
Well, independence is something, I would say that it is inside you. I think I have launched a youth movement which is running successfully. We want to unite the nation, under the Pakistani flag and Quran. This is what, it is a political movement, but not for electoral politics.
Okay.
So, and the other thing that, Alhamdulillah, I'm running a think tank, which is again serving the country and highlighting the issues related to Pakistan's security and, other matters. Then I'm also running an organization which is a philanthropic organization. Alhamdulillah, I'm running hospitals all around Pakistan, especially in Thapaka, where people are suffering, and we are serving a Hindu community over there.
And that's why we have you here, so that you can be a source of inspiration.
Alhamdulillah, that is what I'm doing for my country, and that I think everybody should play its own role.
Absolutely, every individual has to in order to take Pakistan forward. So Habib, what about you? The same questions, and then we will move on to the next question.
So what independence means to me.
Yes, and how do you feel about it?
Okay, they say you only know what sweet is unless you've tasted what's bitter. So I've been in a situation where I could, I was traveling abroad, and when I was traveling, I realized what this homeland is to us, the freedom that we have here, the people that we can connect to. I think coming back to Pakistan and then, relating to people, feeling the warmth of this soil. We are all sons of the soil. So that's when I realized that, this is our homeland, and being free, being the first great citizens of this country is probably the best feeling ever.
Okay, wonderful. And you mentioned about the creation of Pakistan, the fact this ideology that it was created to be a leader and set a model for the rest of the world. But this country was also created for the minorities as well, because as a minority, the Muslims saw what the treatment was.
This white part here.
Exactly.
white
Yeah, the
part,
white,
yeah.
exactly. So let me ask you, Dr. Hassan. You said it means a lot to you, especially since you learnt about the concept of independence and nations. But are we going in the right direction? Do you think that the youth movements, the people that you're working with, because you're in the entertainment industry, you're also in the political scene, are we thinking along the right terms? Are we thinking back to the ideologies that we started with?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, gosh.
I think I'm
Okay, then how
sorry
did we
to
get
be.
there?
I'm really sorry to be crude about it, but I think there is no other way. The first, as I said, the first important thing in resolving an issue is to recognizing that there is one. Pakistan has actually become, if I don't say it,
Don't say
especially
it. Don't say it.
especially on the especially on the on Independence Day. I think we are doing an injustice to all the people who have strived for this nation.
Right.
And obviously in the way that our country is going, and obviously now there are new generations and they're coming along.
Yeah.
My children probably would not have exactly the same connection that at least I had with my parents. My mother always used to say that, her blood is in the foundations of this country, because she was actually injured while she crossed over
Wow, okay.
to what we call Pakistan now. So to us, it was a more emotional thing, and it's something that we connected a lot to. But obviously, my children are not really going to understand that
The feel
correctly.
of it, yeah.
The feel of it, and because they have not seen that scar on their mother's body to actually truly understand the concept of
Right.
it. But I think we are doing grave injustice to our founders for the way that we are treating our minorities, the way we have marginalized them. And as you've just said, and you just took the words out of my mouth, is this, that we, of all people, we understand what minority is and what happens to a minority when a larger majority marginalizes it. And the whole concept of Pakistan was to actually, that it doesn't matter whether you're a Hindu or a Christian or anybody. You could be worshipping the sun for all week, but as long as you're carrying the same passport, and if you're carrying the same national identity card, then it is incumbent upon me, not only as a Pakistani, but as the most important thing, as a Muslim, it is my absolute responsibility to actually take care of the people who are less fortunate than myself, and at least make sure that they can worship in their own way that they want to. It is incumbent upon me to look after them and actually understand their belief system and protect that belief system.
But sir,
and stand in front. As a Muslim, it is my responsibility to actually stand in front of a church and ensure that they pray the way that they want to pray.
Exactly.
But we are indeed on way with that. I mean, we do have people who are representing in the national and the provincial assemblies as well, and it's going to get better. So let's hope. Let's hope for good.
Yeah.
But then
Yes,
at the
it's
same time,
Independence Day, Dr.
now,
Hassan.
now,
It is.
now the only reason why we're facing such kind of problems is because of the fact that there's too much of divide going on. Now, since you're running a think tank as well, and you say
Youth
that it's
movement.
not for electoral reasons, well, I'll see when it'll be those days when the elections campaigns will be
The
underway.
divide is there because a very long time back, I was giving an interview to become a civil servant, and when I'm sorry, I'm going to take a little bit of your time,
Sure,
but it's
sure,
very
sure.
important
Sure.
that your viewers understand this concept. When I was filling up this form, and when they read my form, and they said that actually you don't even know how to fill a form, and I said, I think that I have filled it up to my best of my knowledge. And when they said, well, in the section of sect, you have written NA. So is this a new sect of Islam that we have, because you've written your religion is Islam, and in sect you've written NA? And which kind of sect is that? And my answer to that is, and I think that's very pertinent, especially to a civil servant. It's this, that when I write my sect, I mean, religion, okay, maybe I understand that if I die in the line of duty, and at least you'd understand how to bury me.
Yeah.
If there is nobody there, at least you can refer to that form. But when I write my sect, that means I'm trying to be subjective to a certain group of people. I'm telling you my bias. As a civil servant, as a Pakistani, you want me to be there in that service for my objectivity, not for my subjectivity.
Yeah.
You want me to be a civil servant for everybody.
Very well said.
So therefore, my sect and my personal belief system has absolutely no place in that form for coming into civil service.
Amazing. Okay, that's very true. Now, Mr. Gull, I'm going to ask you. You work, you do the youth movement of Pakistan. You've got a think tank, and you're involved in the more rural, more desperate areas that need help. How are the youth thinking? Are we teaching them this? That you have to be you're all united. Are we teaching tolerance? Are we teaching acceptance? What are the youth thinking? Because Shahzad's mentioned the divide within the country quite a few times this week. We've highlighted it. Are we bridging these gaps?
Well, I think that, since the day Pakistan was created, state building work was done. We built bridges, roads, constructed buildings, school, colleges, infrastructure. But nation building work hasn't been done yet.
Right.
Okay.
I think we should concentrate on the nation building, and the character of the nation must be, targeted. Secondly, it is very important for the youth to understand what are the objectives and aims of Pakistan in the coming years. There must be a target set for the Pakistani nation, which is unfortunately till date.
You do have
it is-
Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable
No,
Development Goals, goes
like-
up to 2030.
like in China, everybody knows what they are going to become. And in Japan, and in Japan, they knew that what they are going to become. But in Pakistan, the divide is, it is against the teachings of Qaeda-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who clearly said that neither you are Punjabi, nor Sindhi, nor Balochi, or Pathan, but you are one nation. But unfortunately, we are all now, we are even, subdivided into different sects but not just Pakistani.
So how do we get rid of it? That's what I'm asking. Because on this day, I think this is what is essential.
Let me, tell you one
Sure.
short thing. Like when I went to Sindh and then to this Tharpakar region, so I hired a doctor who was a Hindu doctor, who is still a Hindu doctor. And then I asked, we were having a chat, so I asked him that, Dr. Sahab, are you related, your relations back in India? And, so he got very angry with me. And he said, Mr. Gull, how can you think of it? I am a Pakistani, I am a Sindhi Hindu. I live here, my ancestors, my grandfather, great-grandfather, and so on. So I apologized to him. I said, Dr. Sahab, I didn't want to, but I thought that probably you have some kind of. I said, no, I'm a proud Pakistani Hindu.
Okay.
So that was really motivational for me. I started up with that, with the place where more than 70% is a Hindu community. So I'm serving them, alhamdulillah, and that is what I say, that no matter who you are or what you are, which sect of the society you are from, but under the Pakistani flag, we are one nation, and that is what you pointed out, that the white color in the flag, our flag is incomplete with white color. So we must without white color, sorry. So this has to be addressed properly, and then the nation building is very important because youth is completely, disoriented and targetless. So they must be focused, and this is the work of the politicians. This is the work of the academia of Pakistan, that they must concentrate on the state,
So now it's,
nation.
once again it's going to come back to education and then leadership, and then it's going to be
Everything here, I feel like
all very usual.
I feel like everyone keeps blaming the youth, and the youth are only dealing with what they.
Actually, unfortunately, I know that I'm cannibalizing the time of the other gentleman, but I think you guys probably would not be happy to hear this, but I think that,
Oh no!
I'm extremely sorry to be a bit morbid, but I think that we're the part of the worst generation.
Not
period.
us, at least.
Okay.
Period. No, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
Because what I inherited when I was growing up, I inherited the third largest growing economy in the world. I inherited a very strong balance of payment. I inherited a country where there were no divides. I inherited a country
Exactly.
which was generally happy. And we
So then where did you
And that
guys go
airline
wrong?
work.
actually we dumbed down and we allowed ourselves to be dumbed down. And whether it was entertainment, whether it was, I mean, obviously there were obviously a lot of political angles to it also, and unfortunately, you know, our political system at that particular point in time sort of utilized religion in a very wrong way.
But did somebody forge or hijack your vision in
Yes.
between that?
Yes.
Who was that?
We, in fact, again, it's our generation.
It's a collective
It's
effort.
our generation to be put on fault here, because the reason that we did not recognize the malignance of the thought process which was being entrusted, which was there. But
At least
good
you're
thing
honest.
is, good thing is that at least we can sit here on the national television now today and actually have a conversation with them.
Exactly.
And have two young bright people to
And
actually.
thanks to the leadership as well. But I think
Yeah.
very quickly I'll move on
Okay,
to
now
Habib
I have
now.
a question for Habib.
Yeah, okay, go
so
ahead.
all of this conversation that we've just had, you know, that the minorities, it was in a good place. Now we're not really where we should be in regards to the whole concept of Pakistan. Now you are, I hate to use this term because we use it so much, but you are part of the youth.
Yeah.
You know, I sorry we use it so much. So how do you feel now is your role? Because we know the situation and we kind of have, you know, everyone says that the youth is confused, we don't know where we're going. But I think that's kind of giving not enough credit and, you know, it's kind of just kind of pushing the
Yeah.
youth to the side. Do you agree with that statement or not? Do you think we're doing something?
I
Not
think-
we, the youth, I don't fall into it.
Looking at you know, the history of societies, every society goes through different trends, highs and lows. I believe Pakistan is now moving towards a better direction. The youth now is much more informed. They are much more socially responsible. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. Looking at the fact what we've inherited from our respected previous generation, I think there's a lot of work to be done. And, you know, blaming everything on the youth, with all due respect, I think that would be a little unfair to the youth, because what we have gotten from our, you know, previous generation is institutions, you know, in debt, and, you know, corruption on the rise and all those things. You know,
Corruption
this,
in inheritance.
exactly, and that too forced corruption. You have to, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you a few things. We've got the youngest Microsoft, you know, certified
do.
professionals. Then other than that, we have got ladies flying aeroplanes as well. Then we
course,
have
there
got
are
people
very, you know, there
who
are
are going into
achievements.
other industries and making
Fighter
our
jets.
mark, and then they're projecting us people, representing us in MMA and different sports as well. So please do not point a finger towards the youth. Where it needs to be pointed
No
is
one
somewhere.
is. They're pointing it to the back generation.
Yeah.
Okay, now, but the thing is, to take it forward, like, it is Independence Day. And yes, okay, we know there are problems and we're highlighting those. But now, in the spirit of independence, like, we have gone through a lot of tragedies. We've gone through more emotional turmoil and a lot of tests to our resolve and our strength. Now, to overcome this, you know, to break the inheritance that, you know, the inheritance
Which
that
we
we
feel
got.
is in the blood.
How do we change that now? Like, how do the youth break free from the old thinking? And because it is hard to, you know, at the end of the day, most, not most, but a lot of people still live with their parents. They're still very much bound by what their parents say. So how do we break this control and kind of guidance that we're
Again,
getting?
for example, all of us have to, first of all, understand that it is our responsibility to do so. I, as a filmmaker, have to understand that there is a certain, when I make a film, I have to keep, I know that profit and commercial element of it is a very important part of it. But I have to make sure that my film, when a person sitting in a cinema, in a dark room, I can have a conversation with that person. And it is incumbent on me, it is my responsibility as a filmmaker to let him come away with a thought process at least. Because if I don't do that, I'm being dishonest.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that I mean, I know that we do need a lot of other kind of genres of films and romantic comedies and all of that. But even then, I think it is and I try to propagate that to all the other producers who are in my fraternity and the directors and the writers, that it is important for us. Because if we do, and the biggest responsibility actually lies on the filmmakers of Pakistan today.
Okay.
Now, the time that we inherit, because we were in an embryonic stage, and now we are going towards where, mashallah, now there are, when I started War, Pakistan had 0 productions.
Yes.
And now, mashallah, when I'm finishing Yalgar, we have 34 productions at this moment running in Pakistan. We have more than 90 screens.
And still nobody's casting us. Come on.
Told you, I promised you. I will.
But still, at
You
the
will
same,
soon.
no, because I think it is your responsibility to offer us opportunities as well.
Yeah,
YouTube.
absolutely. So
You
we
get it.
have to teach them, and I know that Abdullah and Habib can do it in their own organization, I'm sure, but they cannot have that larger an effect that at least people of my fraternity can
Yes.
have.
The reach
So
is
I
greater.
think, yes, and have, it's not only on the television, because on television, you can actually reinforce a concept, but you can't really inculcate it. For inclination of a concept, you need a darker room, you need complete attention, and that is where the film industry comes into play.
Yeah. So would you mind if we share the first look of Yalgar at this very moment as well? I mean,
have
it's Independence Day. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the first look